This is why you shouldn't throw your trash. This bird right here is dying. Most likely some type of poison or trash. How do I know this? Because he's not the only one dying. And it's Easter, and yes, I did a prayer for this. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry. Coming so close. So, you see these birds here, right? They're always over here eating whatever people throw to the ground, but sometimes they play around with trash too. And as you can see, while this one was giving birth, laying an egg, it died completely. If somebody keeps that egg warm and puts it in an incubator, it could hatch. I don't have money for an incubator or an apartment, so there's nothing I could do. But the rich guy walking his dog could afford an incubator to save that egg. But he's not going to. He's going to not give a fuck. Because nobody gives a fuck about nature. I mean, look, there's a lottery ticket thrown right here. Or what is this? Oh, look at that. Drugs. Kratom drugs. Right next to a dying bird. That's that shit I told you people take like a handful of pills. I tried the tea leaves. I tried the leaves one time, and it feels like caffeine. But if you want to get high like a heroin or opiates, people take handfuls of the shit. When I told my family that I tried the tea and had an epileptic seizure, just like what happens when I drink coffee, you know what my family responded with? Oh, I must be doing kratom, and that's why I've had epileptic seizures for the last 25 years. According to my aunt and my father, the reason why teachers pulled me into the hallway at age 7, asking me why I couldn't walk properly, and asking why I couldn't speak properly, and asking why I couldn't write my name properly like I did before. The whole thing my father and his new wife said is because I'm doing kratom. That makes no sense. To blame my illness on drugs when it's been going on for 25 years, and I'm telling them about some of the things that have happened in the last 25 years that they might have missed, it is ridiculous then to go, oh, it must be his drug use. But see, that is their excuse. If I try to tell them like something like, hey, mom gave me an overdose at age 7, she gave me a bunch of pills and I had a reaction, and people noticed a sudden change in my body. And now at the age of 32, I know what it is because I've done the hard work to figure out what was going on. Instead of taking the evidence, like your wife was drinking and popping your son's pills right before going through liver failure, instead of taking the information from your own grandson that maybe your wife is hitting your son for no reason, instead of taking this and realizing that your wife had a mental illness that was called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, and your wife was doing something to an orphan boy that she adopted, instead of taking the information from your grandson, from your son, from your daughter, from your other son that was adopted, instead of taking this information, what they do is they continue to go, oh, it must be drug use. Oh, it must be a mental illness. No, it's an immaturity issue. No, he's out to get us. No, 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 no. He's making up stories for attention at the doctor's office. No, no. And as they do this, as they continue to push a narrative that my real health issues, my physical health issues are made up, meanwhile, they make up mental illnesses on a monthly basis. My mother had a new mental illness to push every fucking month. Every fucking month. Oh, he's schizophrenic and I want him on schizophrenic meds. Oh, he's autism. Oh, he fell to the ground with flashing fireworks and loud noises and he started shaking on the ground, curled up in a ball, so he must be autistic. Meanwhile, not taking any of the information from the teachers that are trying to help. For instance, the teachers at age 7 saw this overdose and they didn't see the overdose, they saw the results of the overdose. They saw a sudden change in the way I use my nervous system right after the overdose. Teachers saw my mother act mentally ill when I was trying to go to school in Worcester. My mother wanted notes every day. The school told her they don't do that. They don't do notes every day. But my mother continued to fight with the school until they agreed to write notes. One day, they wrote a note that said I did a good job. And my mother flipped the fuck out trying to turn it into something. Yes, whenever I got a note or somebody gave me praise, my mother would lose her fucking mind. She wanted everything to be bad. Everything had to be a mental illness. Everything had to be a behavioral issue. Everything had to be bad all the time. And this really affected my father. My father is still in a delusional state about me. He still has delusions about me because of the way my mother talked about me. And still today, when I try to get help, and when I try to get my life to be my life, and when I don't want to live in a fantasy made up by a crazy woman who wants to make up stories, nobody's going to listen. Just listen to my voice. My voice is high-pitched, girly, and childish, and it continues to get more childish sounding. My voice, that's the tone of my voice, not the words, but the tone of my voice sounds weird. And that is because my nervous system was destroyed. Yes, your voice changes over time, but my speech, the way I speak, and the tone of my speech changes depending on the stimulus on my nervous system. If I just had a seizure, or I'm about to have an epileptic seizure, my voice gets very high-pitched, and I start talking like this, and I'm going, oh my God, stop! Like that. But if I am taking epilepsy medication, which my father and mother will not give the proper information for me to get, instead they give information that will deny me any type of care, when this type of stuff happens, my voice gets better. My voice gets better when I take epilepsy medication. It goes back to kind of normal. It's still a little bit high-pitched, but it gets back to about a normal level. And what the worst part about this is I did not know what normal was with all the drugs being forced into my body. Something my father doesn't realize. My father calls me lazy, but yet I would like to see my father take Thorazine, Seroquel, Trazodone at bedtime with Lamictal and Risperidone, wake up in the morning, take another handful of pills, and then do a test. I would like to see my father take 800 milligrams of Seroquel, 200 of Trazodone, 150 of Thorazine, and then wake up at 6 in the morning and get ready for work. I want to see what he is like on those drugs. And then I want to point my finger at him and say, you're lazy. You can't drive because you're dizzy and the room is spinning? No, you're just lazy, Dad. Oh, but the pills I took, the room is spinning and I have such a headache and I feel like I'm going to vomit. Too bad. Get in that car and drive yourself to work. You're just being a lazy bum, Dad. Take your pills and go to work. And then he goes and gets in a car accident. He gets hurt. And then what? It's his own fault. Oh, yes, it is. It's my dad's fault for being dizzy, driving a car and crashing. Yes. And I'd like to see how he handles those type of drugs on a regular basis being put into his body. I'd like to see my father have an overdose at age 7 and then still recover and go to school. I would like to see him go without 4 years of education and then still keep up with the other kids. I would like to see my father get a beating with a metal ruler for no reason whatsoever and then still love the person who beat him. I would love to walk into my father's house, pick up a metal ruler, smack him across the face, and see if he can still love me. And if you do this in reverse, if my father's wife picks up a ruler and starts hitting me in front of his grandson, that doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with why I'm upset at my mother, according to my father and mother. I just have attachment disorder. And when I speak about these things, I'm just making up stories, my father says. Even though witnesses like their own grandson came forward with this information before I did. So their own grandson comes forward with information that he had to watch his uncle get beat with a metal ruler for no reason. And then when I speak up about it, I'm a storyteller and I'm a liar, is what they use as the narrative. And the doctors eat all this up. And because the doctors eat up all this bullshit, because they're making money off of me, I can't live my life. The doctors have made millions of dollars off of me and that the insurance has paid. If you went and took every single pill that I was prescribed in every single hospital I was sent to, and you added up the bill, the doctors have probably made over $10 million off of me in my lifetime. And what did I get out of this? Out of this $10 million of medical care, what did I get out of it? I got hurt. And I'm trying to get better, but the doctors only want to continue with this snowball rolling downhill that's going to kill me. So the more I go to the doctors, the more hurt I get. But I need the doctors to treat my real injuries or I won't get better. Just like this guy. He needs help, and it's not going to come. And that's that's a good representation of me sometimes. Last year I was unable to walk. I was unable to speak properly. I needed a wheelchair. I had to cook my breakfast on the floor. And I was being denied medical care and being told to go to work, trying to work without my legs working. I couldn't even reach the pack of cigarettes to sell to a customer because I couldn't stand up long enough to get them. But yet, is this done with anybody else? No, not unless they had my mother and my father. If you had my mother and my father, or if you had a mother and father that were making choices like mine, then yes. If your legs stop working, you're going to be thrown down a flight of stairs by your own type of medical care. They're going to test you. They're going to hurt you. And then after they find out it's real, they're going to pass you on to somebody else. And then they're going to find out it's real. And then they're going to pass you on to somebody else. Why? Because at first they treated it like it was fake. So these doctors feel very guilty when they find out it's real. Like my internal bleeding. I was bleeding internally into my testicles. I went to the emergency room. They told me to go see a psychiatrist thanks to my mother and father's information and how this has gone out of control and how doctors have added to it and added to it and added to my mother's fantasies over time because they don't understand what they're seeing. They're not taking the information they need to give a proper diagnosis. Like my PTSD stems from emergency rooms and doctor's offices and my mother playing doctor. Knowing that, you know you're going to see me experiencing PTSD at the doctor's office when I show up. But instead, the doctors do not have that information. So when I show up at the doctor's office and they see all these symptoms that are related with PTSD, they don't know what to make of it. And that's the problem.